Hey everybody, it's Mike Young, lifestyle nutritionist with aPlantBasedDiet.org. Welcome to chapter 123 of my book, Live to 150. We're getting into some specifics here now. I just talked about why you don't want to have liquids when you're eating, and I want to talk now about some specific liquids that are kind of trending now. Some have been around for a while, others have not. Now, there is, juicing, of course, which I don't really recommend long term because there's no fiber in that, although it does play a role if you're doing a juice fast or some other type of short-term cleanse because you've been a very, very bad eater for a long time, like most of us have. Okay, there's a purpose for that, but not long-term once you get into the proper lifestyle. What about coffee? What about tea? What about KAVA? What about KRATOM? What about non-alcoholic cocktails and other stuff that's kind of trending now? Those last couple of ones are kind of like a move away from the alcohol industry, which has kind of had a total stranglehold on the restaurant industry profits, which is a whole interesting dynamic in itself. But I want to mention that all these things, including even water should be your beverage of choice, a high quality, either totally purified or spring water, something like that. But either way, it's not optimal. The real water is in the plants. That water is not going to pull stuff out of your body when you drink it. It's already processed and purified in the way that it's done in the actual plant itself, not a water treatment plant, the actual plant, right? That you're eating, that goes into your mouth, that your body digests and gets nutrition from. All right, now what about the other drinks? Coffee and tea. We've mentioned this in the past. They are very acidic. They are not natural. You're cooking stuff, of course. We want to stay more raw. And the other thing is all the fiber and stuff is processed to the point where you're not getting any fiber in this liquid. It's just like a flavored water is what it is, a heated up flavored water. And they usually add lots of other stuff into it to flavor it, all the stuff that goes in the coffees and the teas, because it doesn't taste all that great on its own. So you've got to flavor it up to even want to drink it. So that stuff, and of course the acid load, especially of coffee. It's not something you ever want to consume on a regular or daily basis. Every once in a while, like we talked about in this book, you can do everything 90, 95%, and you can treat yourself to something like that. But don't do it every day. So many people do this every day. It's crazy. Of course, the alcoholic drinks, we'll go back and talk about those. We know that alcohol is a group 1 carcinogen. You do not want to drink alcohol. There was a time and place for it probably in history when they could not preserve anything. They had no refrigerators or freezers. Same thing with salt, crushed rocks to help preserve foods. But we don't live in that time anymore. It's 2022. I don't know why we're hanging on to that any longer than we need to. There are so many different and better ways of doing things nowadays. So now KAVA and KRATOM, that's like the new thing. Some people even question the legality of that. But don't think that it is some kind of health thing where you're going to optimize your health, because that's what we're talking about here, optimizing health. If you drink this stuff, you're not. Because again, it's even if those compounds, KAVA and KRATOM themselves, have some kind of actual real benefit, which, if you look at our food pyramid, the herbs and stuff is way at the top. Stuff like KAVA and KRATOM, you don't want to have much of it at all, and you don't even need it really. Okay, but don't think you're doing yourself a favor and you're actually improving your health by drinking the stuff. All it is, it's kind of like the fake meat or the plant-based meats of the drinks industry. And the same thing with the cocktails, the non-alcoholic cocktails. It started with non-alcoholic beers back in the day. Because I'm 52, I remember back in the 70s and 80s, I would hear about these non-alcoholic beers. They've been around forever. They never really caught on, but they're there. And this is kind of like the new iteration of those non-alcoholic beers, which are still around. But now it's like, oh, you're cool. We're so much better. And it's just like a pacifier almost, because you're so used to sticking this liquid beverage to your mouth and drinking it. And I guess a lot of people need that feeling because they've grown up their whole lives and they get some kind of buzz from alcohol. Maybe they'll get kind of that halfway point or a little buzz from the KAVA and KRATOM. I've had this stuff before. I guess there's a little something in there, but it's not like the powerful hit of alcohol. That stuff really hits because that, like I said, we know that's a carcinogen. But it's still a reminder of all that. And you don't need a reminder of all that. That's like saying, hey, you can just have Impossible Burgers and Beyond Meat from now on. You don't need to worry about the actual real plants the food is grown. I'd be doing you a disservice if I told you that. And I also want to make sure I'm not doing you a disservice by failing to mention these drinks, because I don't want you to think that this is something that's going to optimize your health. It's not. Let me know your own experience with the drinks here in the comments. You know, maybe there's some other drinks too that I haven't mentioned. Let me know about those. I'm sure there'll be all kinds of little, varieties of these things until people finally give up this whole habit that they've had about, the social lubricant of alcohol and being in these bar type, lounge type environments and wanting and needing that. We need to move forward because this is a great resting place, I guess, temporary resting place, but keep moving forward to maybe we have bars and lounges where everyone's truly eating health optimizing food and just talking amongst a crowd of people like that. And we already do have that kind of in a lot of these intentional communities I mentioned before, like Terra Frutis and Fruit Haven in Ecuador that we're involved with. We're also working with on some other projects now too, and who knows where those are going to go. But those are actually maybe in the United States as well. But anyway, these things I'd like to hear your experience with. I'd like to hear what you think of this new environment. They all say it's like a cool vibe or whatever. And it is better because you're not dealing with like the most destructive legal drug there is, alcohol, but you're still centered around, even like the coffee and tea, it's a caffeine. Okay. That's why people are drinking that stuff. It's not for the taste because you got to add all this other crap to it. It's just, it's not a whole plant. It's not a whole food. And then, of course, the other stuff is less potent drugs, but still, like I said, the question of the legality for KAVA and KRATOM, it'll probably be illegal. Everything's going to be legal eventually because everybody's already on drugs, if you ask me. It's called pharmaceuticals, and all those are legal. So why would you not make the plant-derived, just a few steps from the actual plant stuff illegal? I don't know. I don't even know why they did that early on. It was probably maybe somebody knew that the pharmaceutical industry and other stuff was going to turn into this massive profit center, which it is today. And that's a lot of the reasons why we have a lot of these issues going on, because the kind of stuff I'm conveying here is just not out there in the mainstream right now. So I look forward to reading your comments. Be sure to like the video, like I said, and please also be sure to subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next chapter. Bye-bye.